Hi, I'm Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I'm going to go ahead and start work on another chicken coop. It will be a bigger one. The coop itself will be another 8 by 12, and the run will be however long, I can't remember. The one big one from Tamu is that I got. So I want to get that laid out today so I kind of have a clue. I can't really determine the width and stuff of the coop itself or placement until I kind of get together just the frame of the Tamu coop. So I'm going to work on putting together the frame. I'm not going to do the netting and stuff like that today. I just want to get an idea where I need to build the actual wooden hoop coop. Okay, so I have laid out the frame of the Tamu chicken coop, which I'm going to just use as a run. It is 9.5 wide by 13 long. For some reason, I was thinking it was going to be like 20 foot long. I was hoping it was, but it's not. So I have to deal with what I have. On the other end, so the coop door for this is going to go in the middle here. At the other end, I'll put the chicken wire across like it calls for, and then I'm going to build in a door to the coop. So I'm probably going to have to finish the other coop and then move this up against it. So I can't really fasten this down yet. Because I'm going to have to build the two of them together then. But I wanted to get it together so I can have a clue how to lay it out. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the frame together. Again, I'm not putting the netting on or anything like that at this time. I just want to get the frame together, and then I will start on the coop itself, which is going to be out of wood and cattle panels, and with tarps over the top, like that one is. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I have the frame all put together. I don't want to do anything about leveling it up until I get the coop itself built. So this is where it's going to stay for now and while I build the chicken coop. So the coop is going to go right behind it. And then I'll have to fasten the two together. And this really comes downhill, plus this corner is even lower than the rest. So I'll have to think about if I want to try and put this on 4x4s down here, you know, what I can do to level it up and proof it still, because I have to be able to put predator guard down and along it, because I'm going to raise chicks in here and I don't want them getting out from underneath or snakes getting in them and eating them. So lots of planning still to do, but I did want to get the frame put together to give me an idea. So again, this is 9.5 foot wide. I was planning on making my coop 8 foot wide. I'll have to see what a cattle panel would do, how high it would be if I did it 9.5 foot wide, because that's 1.5 feet wider than I normally do. And that's the one next door was 8.5 foot wide. 8 foot wide. And it's quite a bit taller. Well, it's about as tall as this one is in the middle. But if I go 9.5 foot wide, it's going to be quite a bit lower. And I want to be able to get in there and clean it out, you know, without being real difficult. I need to be able to stand up. So I'm probably going to do that coop still 8.5 foot wide and center it up with the middle of this and have a door coming into the run. Here, and then I can frame this up better too to match it. So I have to just kind of lay out everything and go from there. Okay, so my two 2x4s long sides are 12 foot long. I cut my 10 foot, I had only two, so I cut those to 8'3", pressure treated ones for the ends. The middle one, I'm gonna have to use a non-pressure treated one because that's what I have to suck it in. And I can see that 2x4 on the far side is really starting to warp. So it'll be fun trying to push it in to get it screwed in. So the ends, the reason I did 8'3" is because they will overlap with the other boards 1.5 inches so that I can screw the screws in here from this side into that board. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I think once I get this done, it's going to work for me to use some plumber's tape bands to screw this frame down there to the chicken coop one. After I get this webbed. Well, I got pretty far for one day. I got the base of the chicken coop itself, that's the wooden part here, all leveled up. So this end's level, the level. The inside dimensions will be 8x12. The next step will be putting on the cattle panels, and I'll nail those on the insides. So that'll take some tricks to play with. And then this is not leveled. The framing is all put together, but I need to get the coop done first so that I can figure out exactly how to attach the run to the coop. So once I get the coop all framed, I'll have a better idea on how I can attach it to the run. But again, I'm probably going to have to get some more 2x8s or something, because this, especially this corner over here, is definitely lower, or in the middle there. And this side is definitely lower than the other side. So if I could get some, I have to think about how I'm going to do that. It'd be nice to kind of put the 2x8s underneath it and be able to spike this into it, where it's got the little holes for this tiny little tent stakes that wouldn't hold anything down. So, but maybe I can screw it at an angle and screw that into a board. So I'll have to play around with that and see what I'm going to need to be able to level this up. Like I said, that corner is going to be low for that side, and this whole corner here is going to be low, and this whole side's lower than that side. So it'll be fun trying to get it all squared up, but I did get pretty far for one day. Like I said, just getting the run frame to give me an idea, and then the coop framed. And my hopes is, what I'm planning on doing with this is going to at first be a brooder for about 40 chickens, I think. I'll have to think of how many. I only have 4 Plymouth barred rocks in the coop over there, and I want to get 8 more hens and a rooster, so that we can raise those. Those are a dual purpose bird, so that's the goal for that. And then when these other chicks are raised, this will be a coop for layers. I'm going to have a mixture probably of white leghorns and red something, I forget. I'm too tired tonight to think about it. So, I think we're supposed to have a nice few days, and it's going to get even hotter this week. So I'm hoping to really get this done this week so I can go get my chicks. We'll see. I usually put a floor in these. I really like it for, especially in the wintertime, and it keeps them out of the moisture. I didn't have enough money for the plywood or the extra boards. So I really only bought the boards for framing. I'll have to figure out if I can go back and get some more boards and put a floor in it. I don't know about that yet. Okay, end of day one. Okay, so today my job is to stand up these cattle panels inside the chicken coop. You can see that they're down on the ground right now. I need to bring those up to about a 1/2 inch from the top and nail them in with U-shaped nails. I think they're called fencing nails. And I've cut this 1 2x4 about a 1/2 inch down. So usually Wade is out here helping me put the panels in, but he's overdid yesterday. So I'm going to try and do it by myself today. The fun part's going to be lifting those up and trying to keep them even to get them fastened in. Okay, so I got 2 of the panels in place and attached. It was not easy, especially the second one by myself, fighting that 2x4. I did cut out a notch. These are only down 1/2 inch from the top of the 2x4. I recommend going at least 1 inch down. If I wouldn't have this 2x4 in here, that's what I would have done. I thought about cutting it out, but I didn't want to take any chance of the 2x4 over there spreading out again. So that's where I am. So right now I only have 3 fasteners per side. I will go back and add several more. And these are 1.5 inch screws. I'm also going to get some longer screws, at least for this side where I have plenty of 2x4 to screw it into. And the ones on the top can be the longer ones also, but the ones going through the side will not be able to over here because it's only a 2x4. But I want to make these as strong as possible so that wind cannot work its way out. So unfortunately, this last panel I have, I'm going to have to cut. And I measured it, and I had to cut out like 1/4 inch of the end 2x4 here. And I'll still have to cut it down one of the big squares on this side like this. So that's going to take me a bit. Now, one of the other things I wanted to point out is I do use these zip ties. Make sure that you have the ends on the inside so it doesn't rub holes into your tarps or get in the way when you're adding the wire. And I put one at least every 2 squares. And I may go back and add more, but right now this seems pretty sturdy. As long as your surface is level and you've got the panels on level, these fit together pretty good. But if you are not level and your panels are not in there straight, they're not going to match up. So I thought about just leaving the other one whole and putting it inside the run a few inches, and I opted against that because it would just be too hard to really make sure that it's predator proof going in. And I want the coop standalone, so if anything happens to the run or I need to replace it or take it off or whatever, I can. So, I have another cattle panel over there. I got to figure out where I can cut it. I don't want metal shavings going in here because as of this moment, I'm not going to be able to put a floor in here. If I was putting a floor in here, I wouldn't care. But I don't want chicks or chickens eating those metal shavings. And I don't want them where they might be in the chicken tractor out there running around either. And I don't want to cut it on the beauty bark, or excuse me, the bulk mulch, because I use that in the chicken coops as well. So, okay, so I just got the edge cut off here on the ground. And this is the tool that I use to cut it off. I don't even know what it's called. But we use it with a cutoff wheel, and it makes the job go fairly quick. There is no way I could use wire cutters. These are way too thick for me. Or a hacksaw. Hacksaw would take me forever to get one cut done. So if you're considering homesteading, or you're a new homesteader and you don't have the tools yet, a set of good cordless tools are invaluable. You'll use them all the time on your homestead. Okay, well, yesterday I had a bunch of errands to do, so I didn't get a chance to work on the coop at all. One of the errands that I did was to pick up additional building materials. I decided I do want to put a floor in my coop after all. I really like to put floors in my coop. A lot of people build these hoop coops and they don't put the floors in them. And if you have established chickens, I'm sure that's fine. Where I'm going to use this to start off with as a brooder for about 30 to 40 chicks. I really didn't want them being on the ground. So, and I really like having them with a floor. It's easier to clean out. And I just feel like I can keep it cleaner. And then you don't have the moisture. We're all hills and holes and everything in our yard. So I'm going to have water shed off of that coop. Come down, and this goes downhill a little bit. It's going to run underneath this one. So that would not stay nice and dry inside. If you have flat property, you might be able to keep it pretty dry inside the actual coop. But since we don't, I prefer floors in it. So today, what I'm going to work on is putting in all the floor joists. I did get pressure treated 2x4s to be able to do that. So I'm going to get all those put in. I'm hopefully going to get the pressure treated plywood put in. And don't worry about the chemically treated plywood, because I always cover my coops with linoleum. So that really makes it easy to clean out. I shovel all the bedding out a couple times a year. And then I can scrub everything down. So it really works out well. Like I said, I just feel like I can keep the coop cleaner. And then if you end up with any pest, infestations, lice or mites or any of that kind of stuff, it's a whole lot easier to get it back under control, because when you clean it out, then you can of course use insecticidal soaps and stuff to scrub the floor and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get busy and get these 2x4s put in. Well, we got it squared up and I got all the floor joists in. It took quite a while because I have to notch them all at the ends to fit under the wire there. This last one I did not get in. It was stuck on some screws. I got this one loose. I can't get it hit down to loosen it up, and I can't get it pulled out. So I'll have to get a crowbar tomorrow so I can get down in here and pull it out, because it's hanging up on this screw right here. And until I get that out and out of the way, I'm not going to be able to get this board in because it needs to be level with this one. That's the nailer board for the last sheet of plywood. And that's what I build the frame on and everything. So it has to be, you know, level like it needs to be. So my back's really hurting. It's dinner time anyway. So it didn't seem like I got much done today, but it's that much more than what I had. So I can't remember if tomorrow it's supposed to rain. I don't think so. So hopefully I'll fill up to being out here working tomorrow. I'm hoping to get the floor down. And that takes a little bit of, you know, wiggling them in there to get them to fit down in there. Sometimes I might have to trim a side off because of the wire that goes down in there. But we'll see. So now I'm trying to fight with the plywood. This is 3/4 inch plywood, and trying to get it in here is always a challenge. But trying to do it by myself is really a challenge. So we'll see if I can get it in or not. Okay, so I did get the plywood on today also, and besides those cross braces, I did the plywood, and it is all screwed down too. So next I will be framing the ends, but it's dinner time and tomorrow it's supposed to rain and Sunday it's supposed to storm real hard. So the next step is I'm going to frame the end walls and build the doors. So to make it a little bit easier, I've measured this board 24.5 inches wide because my doors are going to be 24 inches wide. So I want a 1/4 inch playroom on each side of the door to allow for expansion, you know, in the weather and that kind of thing. And then I've centered it so I have 3 feet on each side of the door. And I've already done that and actually temporarily screwed it down to use it as a guide in building the sides. Next I need to get the boards that are going to go standing up. And I have them right here. And I'm trying to remember which one they go in. Nope, I don't think that one. I think it's this one. And I stick the bottom right next to it. And then I'm checking for level. And it's a little hard because, okay, so I'm going to stick it right there. And so then I need to mark it so I know where to cut it. Okay, so we know where to cut that one. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. The edge right here of where the brace is. So I have both boards marked. And now I'm just going to cut them off. All right, so I'm going to leave that one on that side so I know that's where it goes. Okay. Now I'm going to measure another board at 24.5 inches. It's going to be the top brace. So the way I'm going to attach this to the cattle panel is with these wire bands. I don't want a super long one, but I don't want, yeah, a short one will work. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to bend these over the wire and screw them again. Now I'm going to change bits back to the other screws and screw the bottom. I'm going to toenail it down to the floor. That's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the other side and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have the second board in place and I also put the middle brace in. And the way I determine where the middle brace goes is I use a 2x4 scrap and put it in. I want to make sure it'll slide in easy but not be a bunch of excess. And that's because when I'm done, or close to done, I'm going to put a 12-foot 2x4 from one end to the other to help keep this supported and to also hang waters and feeders from. Okay, so I got both doors framed. Now I need to finish framing the end. So there's a little bit more we have to do. Okay, I decided that board wasn't long enough. I was hoping it was. It's about 3 foot long. But it doesn't go far enough up the doorway to satisfy me. So I got an 8-foot board, cut it in half, did my marking. I trimmed a little bit off a corner. So I'm going to do the cut here. Okay, so I put it up against the wire, the cattle panel at the bottom. Yes, it does leave a little gap, but that's all going to get closed in when I do the hardware cloth. So, and then I will toenail another one into it. And I'll toenail the bottom as well. Okay, let's figure out the other side. And this board won't go to waste. I'll use it for making the door as part of the door. All right. So that looks good on the other side. I just need to toenail the bottom. And if you have the really long screws, the 6-inch screws, then it's great to go right through this one into it. But I'm just toenailing because I'm too lazy to go look for some more. I had a box, but I used them all. I may go back and look for some more later just to add some strength to it. So again, I'm just okay, I'm going to finish framing the other end, and then I'll be back. So when I'm toenailing the screws into the boards, I do them from the back side, the underside, or the inside bottom. And the reason I don't do them from the outside is so that when I go to winterize and put pieces of plywood on the outside, it's not sticking out in the way, and I'm not running into screws screwing in the plywood. So if you'd like to see how I do that, I winterized one of my coops last year. I winterized 2 of them, but I filmed one of them. So you could go back and check out that video in our chickens playlist and see how I did that. Now I almost forgot, I wasn't quite done framing. I have to cut this board here on the bottom, which I've already done. So on this side I just need to screw it in. And the reason for that is so I have something at the bottom to attach the hardware cloth to. So I need to finish that. I'll have to cut one for this side and for the back wall. Okay, so I did finish the framing today on both ends, and I put the 2x4 by 12 foot up here on top, but it was a little short on both ends, and I see that it is bowed, and I'm sure that's why. So I added a board inside on both ends just because I needed to feel like it had plenty of support. So here's another 2x4 inside on top of the 2x4 frame I already had there. And that way I have at least 3 inches of the 2x4 on these end 2x4s. So I feel a lot better with that now. I even got the door stops in. So all the framing is done on both ends. Okay, so here's what I did. I didn't think I'd have enough on the roll, the new roll of the 4 foot wide chicken wire. So I went up 2 foot, or just under 2 foot, and figured I'd do hardware cloth there. I'm still going to put hardware cloth on. But come to find out, Wade said, oh, I'm pretty sure that's a 50 foot roll. So I had enough to go all the way to the floor, all the way over the top. And this is just over the top. Like I said, the ends are going to be hardware cloth. I'm still not done. I need to tie it down and stuff, but that wind is getting cold. So I'm going to have to call it quits for today. I was really hoping to get done with the wire, but I knew that was wishful thinking. So when I come back out after it quits storming in probably 5-6 days, I will use that end of the roll to get the bottom 2 feet here, get that all tied down, because it's not all tied down all across the bottom. I did use some spray foam in there, and what that does is it just kind of helps mice from getting in there, but as you can see, I ran out. So I'm going to have to get another can anyway. And I usually do that after I have the wire on, but Wade already had a can that he was using for something, so he brought it out to me and it needed to get used. So of course I'll have to cut that back so that I can snug in this chicken wire at the bottom here. And it will be stapled all across the bottom, every other little octagon too. So I still need to tie it up in the middle in a couple of places. I tied it down real good at the seams, overlapped it a couple inches, tied it down mostly on the ends. But as I said, I have hardware cloth that's going to come up, and some of it will overlap. And so that's why I didn't put, every 2 inches or something on there right now. So unfortunately, I didn't quite get done, almost done with the chicken wire. So hopefully the next day that I get to come out and work, I will be able to get the ends done, hopefully, and get it ready to tarp. I still need to make and hang the doors as well, but we're coming along. Before I tarp it, I will be putting the 2-foot hardware cloth up along here too. Last time I put it on the inside, I'm going to see how it goes. I might just put it on the outside, snug this down and put it on the outside. I'll have to think about that. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way you can help our channel to grow. And it really helps with the algorithms if you give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. Take care and God bless.